All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and we are talking about some breaking news. Boxer Robert Easter Jr. has been shot. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. Really bad news in the world of boxing today. Robert Easter Jr., who's a former 135-pound champion, was in in Cincinnati, Ohio, and is currently undergoing surgery after having been shot 3 times in what his father is reporting to be a robbery. So this is coming out of WTOL News. Says Toledo boxer Robert Easter Jr. is undergoing surgery at a Cincinnati hospital after he was robbed and shot multiple times Sunday night. His father, Robert Easter Sr., confirmed the news to WTOL 11 on Monday morning. He said the former IBF lightweight champion was shot 3 times after he was confronted. He was confronted at 6:30 p.m. by a group of men who were demanding money. And according to them, Easter is in surgery to remove bullet fragments, but is expected to survive. It says WTO has requested a police report from the Cincinnati police. Robert Easter is 31, graduated from Bowser High School, and was named an alternate on the 2012 U.S. Olympic team. So, man, that is absolutely tragic news, man. Really bad. But however, the good news is that he's expected to survive. So, hopefully this is a circumstance where, he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he's able to survive and get past that, and continue on with his life. If he is, that would be, a very, very fortunate for him, and he'd be very, very lucky to do that, man. If you guys are not familiar with who Robert Easter Jr. is, he's a very, very good fighter, man. Hasn't been very active over the last couple years. He was also just coming off of some other issue that he had around, a domestic violence issue. I don't know if it's domestic or if it's just battery, but he got convicted of, or he pled guilty to punching a girl in his face. So just seems like things are kind of adding up for Robert Easter Jr. right now, man. And it's just a real, hard time in his life, man. But, I'm not going to be, in these particular circumstances, I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to talk about, where he should have been, what he should be doing is different and all of that stuff, man. I had never really heard of Robert Easter being the type of guy that was, always, getting into trouble or, provoking people or anything like that. So, or somebody that didn't necessarily have his head on straight. Of course, he was hanging out with Adrian Bronner, and Adrian Bronner is somebody that is apt to get shot at, right? Or have a lot of drama going on around him. But, in situations like this, man, I just don't think it's right, to point a finger at the dude and say, you shouldn't have been in this, you shouldn't be in this place, you shouldn't be in that place, because, dude, wherever you are, man, there's a likelihood that you can get robbed, you can get stuck up. It's just, kind of what it is, man. There's, but I will say this, though. There's something that I heard, and I don't really listen to a lot of rappers, but there was this guy, Boozy. I think it was Boozy is the only name I know by. He's a New Orleans rapper. And I watch what he says sometimes because he's a New Orleans rapper. I went to school in New Orleans, so I always find, that kind of interesting to hear people's from New Orleans perspective. But he was talking about how he had left New Orleans because, when athletes get shot or when they get robbed and all that stuff, it tends to happen in areas, where you're from, right? And, I know Toledo, I don't believe Toledo is too far from Cincinnati. I'm not sure if he's from Cincinnati. Actually, I do believe he is from Cincinnati. So he was in his hometown, somebody approaching him, looking for money, robbing him for money. No, this dude is, is a millionaire or should be a millionaire boxer or made a lot of money in boxing, may have been wearing his gold chains out. I can't say that for sure. And they walk up on him and say, man, give me what you got, And the way these dudes are acting sometimes, man, it's like they can literally be your friends, but when it's about that money, people are going to do crazy things, man. And, so it may be best for guys that are, that are living in certain areas, if you're from that area and you're making a lot of money, not to necessarily be in the area that you're from, right? Because you're going to be a target in those areas for cats that are robbing and stealing and doing whatever, man. And, it's funny because I put on my Twitter yesterday because I was reflecting on something, something related to it, man. Money just, man, it really does make people act funny, man. It really does, man. You really can't trust anybody, and when you're in an area where you're more familiar to people, it's more, and they are more easily able to recognize your pattern, know where you're going from, can watch where watch where you're going, know how you move, know how much money you have and all that stuff. It's that this type of stuff is more prone to happen. But I am definitely hoping that Robert Easter Jr. Makes a full recovery. That he's there to provide for his family and all of that. As far as what boxing is concerned, I think that is obviously a lot less important what he's going to do in his career moving forward than what is going on with him, with his health. But even when they say, but he's expected to survive, at the same time, man, they expecting to survive and surviving are two different things, man. And three bullet wounds to you, man. God dog, they definitely try to get that dude out of there, man. So anyway, man, this on top of, just the drama around the last thing. I'm just absolutely hoping the best for the dude's family, and that, that this type of stuff, he gets on a better track, man. But these young dudes, man, out here that are, in the same area, I'm going to say it again, that are in the same area that they grew up with, that they grew up in, are more at risk of getting these type of things happening to them than if you are somewhere else where people don't recognize you. Because Robert Easter Jr. is not a recognized. He's famous, but he's not in the boxing world, but he's not recognizable to people walking around the streets in Chicago or walking around, in other areas, more remote areas, right? Where in Cincinnati, Ohio, being around friends that went to high school, knowing this dude, would fight in Toledo and fight on the cards there, knowing what kind of dude, that this guy's the type of guy that'll get $750,000 a fight, get $1 million a fight. They very well may look at this dude and say, hey, man, this is easy pickings, man. But, my prayers go out to him, man. And I'm certainly hoping that, that he gets all the way back and this does not wind up being a situation like a tragic situation, because we just do not need more of this, more of that type of stuff in the community. And that's regardless if the dude is a fighter or not a fighter. You just really want the dude to do well and not to be in that type of situation. But we'll update, man. Hopefully this, kind of will be like the situation with Errol Spence when he had that car accident. And, it's a situation where, it was a risky situation for him, but that he comes out, he makes it good, and he can live with his life, live his life the rest of the way. But anyway, you let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.